The NFL season has officially kicked off as we kick off this edition of Special Edition from the Star in Frisco, home to the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters. We've got Isaiah Stanback, Barry Church, Nate Newton. I'm Kyle Yeomans breaking down the Cowboys' Week 1 matchup against the Cleveland Browns. But gentlemen, football is back. We've now seen 4 teams in action already going into the weekend. Had a Thursday game, a Friday game in Brazil. There's a lot looking forward to this season. Barry, I'll start with you. What's the number one thing you're most excited to see across the league?
Well, hopefully I'm excited to see this Dak deal get done. I mean, that's what I want to see first and foremost. Get this quarterback in here long term.
For myself, I just want to see this competitive. It's going to be highly competitive. The schedule, whoever set these schedules out was absolutely amazing this year. There's a lot of great matchups. The Dallas Cowboys have one heck of a schedule. I'm not sure who they pissed off, though, but they got some really good matchups coming up early.
I'd just like to see what the NFC East is going to do. I think every team has a special something about them, whether it's a new coach, a new quarterback, and, hey, we got our CD back, so that's new for us. So I just want to see what the NFC East is going to do.
Yeah, you've got CD back. You also have Dak and McCarthy, like Barry just alluded to, without a contract up to this point. So there's a lot of things to look forward to this season, but there are two guys that are under pressure. Isaiah, what does that pressure do for a ball club when your coach and your quarterback aren't signed long-term?
Like Mystical said, you keep bouncing me up against the wall. You get your back against the wall. So, these guys you're going to see the best versions of them. That's what it's going to be going into this season. You want to see the competitor come out and, hopefully you get the best version of them and not a version that's playing scared.
Yeah, this is a make it or break a year for a lot of people within this organization. And I got to say, McCarthy may be near the top of that list. We understand he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback or coach, and he knows how to get this team into the playoffs. But once you're in there, can you make noise? Can you get over the hump and get to that NFC Championship game? I think that's an answer or a question that Mike McCarthy's going to have to answer this season.
Both of these guys have been there, done that. They know how to handle themselves. Dak has been against the wall seeking a new contract. Coach McCarthy's been in his last year and won a Super Bowl. So these guys have been there, done that. I believe in both of them, they'll come through.
And every time that they've been together, they've continued to take a step up in the right direction. Now, they're going to have to do so with a lot of youth around them. The Cowboys are planning, according to their unofficial first depth chart, to start 4 different rookies, which is the most that the Cowboys have had in recent memory. Does that change your thought process at all, Barry, when it comes to how this team could fare in 2024?
No, that's a lot of rookies to throw into the fire week 1, but only 2 really kind of concern me, and those are the 2 offensive linemen because they're going against one of the best defensive lines in all of National Football League. When you talk about Guyton going against Myles Garrett, and then Cooper Beebe as well may have the opportunity to go against Garrett because they love to put him over the center and give him that 2-way go. So I'm looking forward to seeing what these rookies got.
That is my concern, too. As quick as these 2 guys can gel with the other 3 guys, the other 3 guys are set still, and the 2 guards that we have are all pros. So as long as they can get gelled and get running early in the game, I think they'll be okay.
Yeah, I'm looking to the outside and Kalen Carson. I think that's where a lot of pressure is going to be at. You talk about somebody who doesn't have a lot of depth behind him. He's going to be being tasked to step up and take a starting role until Deron Bland comes back. There's going to be some situations that he's put in against some of the league's best receivers early on.
And he's having to step up with that Deron Bland injury. He maybe doesn't have the same reps that Leofau and Beebe and Guyton have had, as they've really been expected to start over the last few weeks. When we come back on Special Edition, we're going to play a little game of which one. We'll start things off with the running back position. Which rusher will lead the team? Could it be Rico Dowdle?
Special Edition, presented by AT&T, is brought to you by your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. Reliant, official energy provider of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com. Make your crypto play today. And by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. This segment is brought to you by your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas.
Welcome back into Special Edition, and as the season gets underway, it's time again for us to make some predictions on the year. So we're going to play a little game of which one. I'll give these guys some topics of each of the Cowboys' different, question marks going into the year and how it'll fare out in the 2024 season. Let's start with the run game. Nate Newton, I'll let you start things off. Who will be the leading rusher for the Dallas Cowboys this year?
A healthy Rico Dowdle, without a doubt.
Without a doubt. That's it? Why?
That's it.
Why is that?
Because if he's healthy, he's the most explosive back. He's the youngest and most quickest back. And now he can catch the ball coming out of the backfield. That is why he will lead it.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Big Nate on this one when you talk about who's going to be the leading back. I think Rico has a little bit more explosiveness than Cook or Ezekiel Elliott. I think those guys are more 3 yards in a cloud of dust, and I feel like Rico, as the season progresses, will gain more and more yardage.
For all the reasons those guys just mentioned, in addition to the fact he's one of the youngest in the backfield outside of Deuce Vaughn, so he has less wear and tear on his body.
Man, so no Ezekiel Elliott, no Deuce Vaughn, no Dalvin Cook. It's Rico Dowdle's show going into 2024. That's an interesting answer to get us started. Let's go to pass catchers. I'm taking CeeDee Lamb out of the equation here because, of course, who's going to lead the team in receiving? That's a big one. But who will have the most receiving touchdowns this year for the Cowboys? Jake Ferguson, Brandon Cooks, or Jalen Tolbert, Barry?
Well, I'm going with Big Ferg on this one. I think he's going to be a mismatch nightmare in that red zone. They're going to split him out a little bit. He'll go against safeties, undersized corners, and I think he'll be able to take advantage of it.
Yeah, I think I have to go with Fergie as well. I think he's going to have anywhere between 7 and 9 touchdowns this year.
Come on, man. Y'all taking my boy. Y'all didn't have a whole lot of faith in a couple of years ago. Come on now.
You're right. You're right. He earned
Let's
it.
go, Jalen Tolbert.
Nate Newton with the switch up here on Special Edition. I love it. What about linebackers? Linebackers this year. Which linebacker will have the most tackles at the end of the season? There's some good ones here. Eric Kendricks, Damone Clark, Maris Leofau, DeMarvion Overshown, Isaiah. Who are you going with?
I'm going with Maris Leofau.
Wow.
Leofau, from what I saw from him in camp, not only is he considered to be one of the smartest guys in that room, but he's quick, he's explosive, he plays with an energy and passion for the game, and in this Mike Zimmer defense, he'll be one of the stars.
Yeah, I got to go with Kendricks on this one. If he's able to stay healthy throughout the entire season, he should be able to lead this team in tackles. He hasn't had under 100 tackles in about 7 years, so this guy's going to be a tackling machine out there.
I'm with you, because if he's healthy, he will lead this team in Kendricks.
And we've also got one more question here, guys, and this is an easy answer. One-word answers from you guys right now. Who wins the NFC East in 2024, Isaiah? One word.
Philadelphia.
Okay.
Philadelphia.
Whoa.
Cowboys always and forever.
Okay. No Washington in there as well. I mean, they're getting better. Dan Quinn's got things moving in the right direction. But the NFC is wide open, including the NFC East. But when we come back, the Cowboys make a trip to Cleveland and face an AFC team in Week 1, including a familiar face with Amari Cooper on the opposite side.
This segment was brought to you by your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. This segment is brought to you by the NFL Fan of the Year, presented by Captain Morgan.
Yeah, for sure. Anytime we step onto the field, it's really trying to prove that we're a top defense in the NFL, and so we take that mindset going throughout practice and then going into games as well.
Even as a rookie, Maris Leofau still has that veteran mindset of getting 1% better, staying rooted as they prepare for this Week 1 matchup with the Cleveland Browns. The Dallas defense will get tested against this Browns offense and then vice versa. We've got Isaiah, Barry, Nate back with you. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Now, Isaiah, I'll start with you. Deshaun Watson at one point was one of the best quarterbacks in the entire National Football League. It hasn't looked that way in Cleveland, but what's been a reason for that?
Yeah, I think that most people are still relying on him and referring to him for the quarterback that he once was. He hasn't necessarily shown any kind of form of consistency during his time in Cleveland, and I no longer believe that he possesses the ability to be able to have the velocity on the ball he once had, which means that he's no longer a deep ball threat. That was one of the things that really made him who he was, his ability to push the ball down the field as well as utilize his legs. If all he has is his legs and underneath throws, I'm not sure that he's that much of a threat any longer.
Yeah, I don't believe he's that same dynamic quarterback that he was with the Houston Texans, but this guy can still get the job done in my opinion. You know, 6 games last year, he did go 5-1, and like you mentioned, he has those weapons on the outside. He has Cooper, he has Jerry Jeudy, Njoku at the tight end spot, and to me what makes Watson special is when he has that balanced attack. So we'll see what Ford can present for this rushing attack, but overall, if you can't sleep on this guy because he has an opportunity to be dangerous to a defense.
I think what's going to count the most for this guy is his knowledge of the game. Maybe he can, for what he lacking, his athletic ability, he can make up for it or above the shoulder. So we'll just see how he controls the game and manages the game.
And they're hoping he'll take a step forward. Barry, you talked about the running game. They will be without Nick Chubb out for a significant amount of time. So now it's Jerome Ford that's carrying the torch for the ground game for Cleveland. It always seems like they know how to run the ball, Nate. And again, they're going to try and do so with Ford. Can they get it done? And how does it differ for if Chubb was available?
I tell you what, Chubb is he's that dynamite back. He's that number one. But when you look at this kid, Ford, he reads the blocks real well, and then when he see an opening, he can burst. And he's got a great burst. I've seen him go 30 yards for a touchdown. I think he went against Seattle, not calling in the names. He hit Seattle for about a 40-yard TD. So he got some burst to it.
Yeah, let's keep it real. Cleveland's always been known for a two-headed monster. So as good as Nick Chubb is, Jerome Ford is just as much of a threat, in my opinion, simply because of the fact that he is a more dynamic in terms of his agility and his speed. This dude got clocked at over 21 miles per hour last year on a touchdown run. So he's somebody that might be more of a threat than even Chubb, even though Chubb can come down here and run straight through you.
It is a different mindset whenever you're going up against Ford or going up against Nick Chubb. Both guys will have an opportunity to have success. So will Amari Cooper, former Dallas Cowboy in his own right. He's been eating. So is David Njoku at the tight end position. Barry, when it comes to these two guys, these weapons, including the new addition of Jerry Jeudy, do they have enough to scare Dallas defensively?
Oh, yes, they have plenty enough to scare Dallas, and I'm focusing on number 2 right now, Amari Cooper. You've got to know where this guy is at all times. He's one of the best route runners in the National Football League. In my opinion, he's a top 10 receiver overall. Great hands. He understands how the defense is going to attack him. And please, corners out there, Diggs, Lewis, Carson on the outside, be aware of the double move. This guy has legendary moves when it comes on the outside. You got to know where number 2 is at all times.
You better keep your eyes peeled, and you better make sure that Kalen Carson is not the only one that's responsible for him, because he's a rookie, and you know what happens when veterans find rookies, and they want to pick on you. So hopefully Trayvon Diggs is what he once was before his injury. Looking forward to seeing that matchup.
It will be a fun matchup. And then you flip to the opposite side. For the Cowboys offense, the matchup is Myles Garrett, Defensive Player of the Year. He comes downhill with full force. And Isaiah, you'll talk about him a little bit more in depth in a moment. But Nate, what is the challenge going up against a guy like Garrett?
He's everything. Pure speed, power, quickness, 14 sacks, 17 hits for losses, 4 forced fumbles, and a fumble recovery. This guy is the total package.
Yeah, he's a freak coming off the edge. I mean, he can beat you like what Nate just said with power. He can beat you with speed. He has the finesse moves as well to hit you with some pass rush moves. But he's not just a pass rush specialist. This guy plays the run as one of the top run defenders in the National Football League as well, and they love to move him around the line of scrimmage. He won't just be lined up in one specific spot. So this Cowboys offensive line has got to know where number 95 is at all times.
Yeah, they're going to have a challenge with him and a challenge with the rest of the defense, Isaiah. What is Cleveland going to go do differently?
Well, Jim Schwartz he's a mad scientist. One thing that he does really well is move around his safeties. You have to be able to identify where they are pre-snap and then post-snap. They mix around their coverages. They mix around zone blitzes. So one of the areas that Dak has struggled with in the past, he will be tested early and often against Jim Schwartz and his Cleveland defense.
Can't wait to see it. It's going to be a fun test for Mike McCarthy's offense and this Cowboys team as a whole. But we mentioned Myles Garrett. It's time to go to the film room. A little QB vision with former quarterback Isaiah Stanback. How do you slow down the reigning Defensive Player of the Year?
This segment was brought to you by the NFL Fan of the Year, presented by Captain Morgan.
I mean, you get to gauge yourself as a player. You know, I've played against Micah, got Max Crosby, now I get to block Myles Garrett. So I feel like I'm just gauging myself and seeing what I can do and what I can't do.
How about that for a welcome to the NFL moment for Tyler Guyton, his first task as a rookie offensive tackle on the left side? How about the reigning Defensive Player of the Year in Myles Garrett, bringing the heat from that pass rush for the Cleveland Browns? We've got Isaiah Stanback ready to break it down for you here on Special Edition. Isaiah, when it comes to Myles Garrett, he may not be the most flashy defender in all of football, but he's a technician in his technique, and he is going to find a way in the backfield no matter what.
Yeah, he's an absolute beast. Let's just call it what it is. 6'4", he's probably going to come in at about 280 pounds this first game, and he is one heck of a matchup matchup for our rookie, Mr. Tyler Guyton. But let's go ahead and take a peek at what kind of problems does he cause you. Well, first thing you got to be able to do is identify where he is. He's all over the place. Yeah. So number one, right here against the Tennessee Titans last year, he's right here at the defensive end position. One thing he likes to do is get out here in these wide 9 or wide 11, whatever you want to call it, techniques. That's the end of the tackle box. He is way out here. He's 2 men removed. You could have put another 2 offensive linemen right here if you wanted to. But no, he wants to be wide. The reason why is because he likes to run up the edge. And by running off the edge, I'm going to show you guys what kind of issues that causes. Let's go ahead and run it through. All right, you see him pushing up the field. Pause it right there. What you do not want to do as an offensive lineman is have your shoulders adjacent to the sideline. This left tackle's eyes are facing the sideline. What does that do? It gives you a short edge, and now he's able to drive his legs through the ground and get up to the 7-yard point. Between 7 and 9 yards is where the quarterback is going to lie. You see right now, boom, right at the 7 yards, he's able to put his arm out there and strip it there. You mentioned not being flashy, Kyle. That wasn't flashy. That was just efficient because he's powerful, he's strong, and he has a wide technique.
Now, there's ways that he does get in the backfield, and he uses a couple of different moves along the way, but how does he continue to stay relevant even this deep into his career?
Yeah, well, I mean, let's take a look at it here. You guys just saw one of the things he does really well. Get wide, drive against the tackle. Okay, so what do you do if you're a coach? Let's go out here and give him some help, right? Sure. Let's give him a chip block, okay? Oh, that's good. Okay, the first thing you got to do is be able to identify him. Boom, there he is. Who's responsible for him? Well, this tackle right here is responsible for him, and also who's going to get in on the party is this running back. They're going to do what we call a chip. So let's go ahead and play it. Again, line it up wide. Now, what are you seeing here? This, boom, pause it right there. Let's go back a little bit, This left tackle is now trying to do what? He is, again, his shoulders are adjacent to the sideline, but he has help, right? That should help. It shouldn't be a big problem because you got this running back who's going to come up and chip. You have 2 grown men blocking against this man. Oh, it doesn't matter. Play it through. Boom. I'm going to run through both of you guys. I don't care that there's 2 grown men. I'm going to get this sack.
So that's just pure strength whenever it comes to Myles Garrett. 6'4", 272 pounds. He's going to fight his way into the backfield no matter what, but it's not always about the strength. It's sometimes what he does cerebrally. He's got that football IQ, and he can play some reverse psychology on you. How does he do it against the Ravens here?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so boom, let's go ahead and highlight him. We already talked about his leverage, right? He wants to be way outside, okay? We also talked about the fact that he likes to do what? Go way upfield. What else do we say? We say that the tackle goes out here, the running back, you can come out here and chip. Okay, cool. Hey, all right, now that I know your game plan, what can I do now if I'm Myles Garrett? Okay, boom, let's go ahead and pause it right here. Here comes the tackle coming out. Where do we say his shoulders can't be? Can't be to the sideline. Well, that's check one. Number one, they are there. Now the running back, he's going to come out here and try to chip as well, just like we just saw in the last play. But what can Myles Garrett do? Well, he's going to do his normal rush, and he's going to say, aha, I'm going to go ahead and spin back inside because I know you have no help, and I'm still going to get to the quarterback. Boom, there he is. Boom, pause it right there. Now we have tackle, check. Running back, check. Now the guard, check. I beat all 3 of you guys. I'm still going to get this sack on the most elusive quarterback in the game, Lamar Jackson. This guy is a complete problem. You can't just go out there and turn your shoulders. You can't just chip on him. You have to play sound, and you have to make sure that you're confident in your abilities. Just rely on your good old technique and let him come to you.
He had 14 sacks last year for a reason. He won Defensive Player of the Year for a reason. And if Lamar Jackson can't get away from him, good luck Dak Prescott of trying to get away from him. So it's up to Tyler Guyton and that offensive line for the Cowboys to have some success and try and keep a clean pocket. We'll talk more about some of those keys to success when we come back on Special Edition. Keys to a 1-0 start for the Dallas Cowboys. Could CeeDee Lamb be in the cards?
Closed captioning is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Cowboys scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery are here. Play today. Special Edition, presented by AT&T, was brought to you by your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. And by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys.
Wrapping up the Week 1 episode of Special Edition with Isaiah Stanback, Barry Church, Nate Newton. I'm Kyle Yeomans. It is Week 1, which means it's time to give keys to the game, Barry. How do the Cowboys get the job done in Cleveland?
You got to make Cleveland one-dimensional. If they're able to go out there and run the ball with Ford and Deshaun Watson's able to have a clean pocket to pick you guys apart, it'll be a long afternoon. You got to make this offense one-dimensional.
0 turnovers. You cannot give Cleveland an opportunity for extra efforts, especially at their house.
Stop the run. Stop the run. Make sure Deshaun Watson is the guy that beats you. Stop that run.
Got to find a way to slow down the running attack. No Nick Chubb, but this is a team that was one of the best last year at running the football. Nate, you know we're back whenever we have a Nate Newton game prediction. What do you think happens in Week 1 against the Cleveland Browns?
I think we're going down by 2.
Okay.
And we're going down, and we a 40-yard field goal by the young Aubrey.
To win it by 1?
To win it by 1.
We're back, baby.
Yes.
We're back
There
on
it is.
Special Edition. For Isaiah Berry, Nate, I'm Kyle Yeomans. We'll see you next week.